In this tutorial, we will have a look how we can make this one-way platform. As you can see, we are able to pass through it. And if you want to get the source code of this game, and this is a polished game project with 5 levels, you can get it on Patreon. And before I jump into the coding part, I want to thank Nenden, Nuraini, Joel Blankson, Shelly, Steele for taking membership on my Patreon. And if you guys want to do that, you can do it on my Patreon, and by that you will unlock many benefits. So without further delay, let's dive into this tutorial. As you can see, I have dragged my one-way platform sprite in my scene view, as you can notice. So if I select my one-way platform in the hierarchy, then go over to inspector, as you can notice I attach a rigid body 2D component, and make sure you set the body type to kinematic or static so it's not gonna fall down due to gravity. And also make sure you attach a box collider 2D component and edit the collider as the size of your one-way platform sprite. So I will have it in the description, you can go and check it. And also I have a animator component, or you can just skip this part. And now what we need to do, we basically need to able to pass through this one-way platform once we are bottom of this one-way platform. But once we top of this one-way platform, then we need to enable the box collider 2D of this one-way platform, so we can just able to jump top of that. So if I go ahead and then click on this play button in the top in order to play my game, you will able to notice we're not gonna able to pass through it through our one-way platform. But once we're gonna be top of that, we gonna able to jump. So let me show you first. So if I just go ahead and try to jump top of this, as you can see we're not able to jump through this, but we can able to jump top of that, as you can see. So what we basically need to do, we need to disable the box collider 2D of this one-way platform. So let's get out of play mode, and we need to create a script for that. So make sure you click on this, select your one-way platform in the hierarchy, then go over to inspector, click on add component, and in the bottom you can see new script, and name the script whatever you like, and then click on this create and add. So I already create a script called one-way platform. So if I move over to my project tab, assets, and then script folder, and I have the script right over here. So I'm going to select my one-way platform in the hierarchy, and let's select the script and drag it over to this add component section. And now we're going to open up our one-way platform by double clicking on it. So what we need, first thing we need our player position. So we need a transform our player reference, a reference of our player position, as well as we need a reference box collider 2D component of this one-way platform. So let's gather those. So we're gonna move over to our script, and let's remove this start function we don't need. So first thing we need our player position. So let's make a public transform which is responsible for position, and we can call this one player position or player. So I'm gonna call it simply player. And also we need a reference to that box collider 2D component. So let's make a public, and we're gonna create a box collider 2D component, or the component that we're looking for, and I'm gonna call it something like box collider 2D. I'm gonna call this one box collider 2D, and let's close that up with semicolon. And also we need a offset in the y-axis, so let's create a parameter for our offsets as well. Sorry, so I will go to top of my class, and I'm gonna create a public vector2 which gonna have the x and y axis, and I'm gonna call this one offset, and let's close that up with semicolon. And we're gonna press down Ctrl S on our keyboard to save our script, and then move over to Unity editor. So underneath our one-way platform, we will able to notice those parameters just gonna pop up as soon as our script compilation is done. So we need to assign one by one. So the first thing just gonna be the offset, and we don't want to play around with the x. So in the x we just gonna leave with 0, but we do want to play in the y. So in the y offset we're gonna put 1. So as you can notice player, and it says non transform. So we're gonna take our player from hierarchy, let's drag it over to that field. Now we have the player transform means position, and let's select the box collider 2D, and let's drag it over to this box collider 2D field. Now we have the player position as well as the box collider 2D component. So now what we just gonna do, we're gonna check the distance in the y. Basically we just want to compare. So if the position of this one way platform in the y axis it's greater than a player position in the y axis, means the player is somewhere around here. Here as you can see, one way platform position in the y axis, in this case it will be greater than position player position in the y axis. So in this moment what we need to do, we basically need to disable the box collider 2D of this one way platform. Why? Because the player game object just gonna be bottom of that, so that's why. So what we will do, we will go over to update function, and over here we're gonna check. So what we will do, we will use this if condition. Let's make first bracket and some curly brackets. And what we want to check over here, we basically want to check. So firstly we will check transform dot position dot y. It basically means current position of that one way platform in the y axis. If it's greater than player position, so we will go to player dot position and we're gonna access y. If that is the case, means our player in the bottom. And make sure you just subtract from your player position with the offset that we created. So we're gonna subtract offset, so minus our offset. So we will offset, and we need to access the y1. So we're gonna type this dot y. Because we just want to play around with y axis, or you can simply say vertically, so that's why. So in this moment what we need to do, we need to disable the box collider 2D of this one way platform, because the player just gonna be in the bottom. So that's why we will go to box collider 2D component, box collider 2D component, and then we're gonna use dot enable, and we will set it equal to false. Basically means we just disabling that. But let's suppose the player is something top of this our one way platform. So if I take my player and move it somewhere around here, so as you can see in this moment, our one way platform in the y axis, it will be lesser than player position in the y axis. So in this moment what we need to do now, we basically need to enable the box collider 2D of this one way platform game object. So in this moment, else our one way platform in the y axis, if it's lesser than player position in the y axis, if that is the case, then we need to enable our box collider 2D. So we will go to box collider 2D, and we're gonna use dot enable, and we will set it to true. Basically means we just enabling one more time, and we disabling over here once our player game object in bottom of our one way platform. And now we're gonna press down Ctrl S to save our escape. And now let's move over to Unity editor, and I'm gonna take my player in the bottom so we can check that out. So just wait a moment, and once our compilation is done, we can just go ahead and check that. So I'm gonna take my player and I'm gonna drag it in the bottom somewhere over here. So let's select our player in the hierarchy, and let's drag it over here, and let's select our one way platform. We can see by default the box collider 2D is enabled inside our one way platform. Let's click on this play button in the top in order to play our game, and make sure you subtract the offset in the y from your player position. So basically we just checking the distance, basically we just comparing in the y, and you will able to notice that. And we can see as soon as the game started, the box collider 2D inside our one way platform gets disabled. But once we jump top of that, we can notice it gets enabled, and you can notice in the inspector as well. So if we are able to jump through it, and basically we are able to pass through our one way platform, and once we are top of that, the box collider 2D gets enabled of this one way platform. We can notice.